Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. Today, I, Mahaja binti Muhammad Iman, and my partner Nur Aida Munawara will present about trade. Trade refers to the voluntary exchange of services between different economic actors. In 2019, in terms of global ranking, the World Trade Organization WTO has ranked Malaysia as the world 25 largest exporter and 26 largest importer.
Okay.
Let me proceed. The next is the People's Republic of China, Singapore, and United States, Japan, and Hong Kong were Malaysia top 5 major trading partners in 2021. Thus, this 5 is account for over half, 53.2% of worldwide Malaysia export revenue. Meanwhile, the top 5 largest sources of imports were China, Singapore, US, Japan, and Indonesia. The largest one is China, which is 25%. So this is the historical trade development in Malaysia from 1967 to 2019 in million ringgit Malaysia. So this is export percent of GDP. We provide data for Malaysia from 1960 to 2021. The average value of Malaysia during that period was 70.41%, with a minimum of 36% in 1972 and a maximum of 121% in 1990. The latest value from 2021 is 68.9%. For comparison, the world average in 2021 based on 130 countries is 43.35%. So this is for import. The average value for Malaysia during that period was 71.4 billion US dollar, with a minimum of it is 0.75 billion US dollar in 1960 and a maximum of it 221.9 billion US dollar in 2018. The latest value from 2020 is 185.32 billion US dollar. For comparison, the world average in 2020 based on 157 countries is 132.41 billion US dollar. The next is about trade. The average value for Malaysia during that period was 14.3 billion US dollar, with a minimum of negative 3.48 billion dollars in 1995 and a maximum of it 51.31 billion US dollar in 2008. The latest value from 2021 is 26 billion US dollar. For comparison, the world average in 2021 based on 26 countries is 16.14 billion US dollar. So this is the overview for period 1947 to 1965. Our expert is focusing on rubber. iron or tin, wood, and palm oil. The price up and down which affect income for income and export value. While the import we are focusing to food, consumption and manufacturing product. The import has increased for consumption and manufacturing product for this period. The next period is 1960 until 1978, which is rubber is dropped while palm oil increased, iron and ore drop, manufacturing product export has increased. For import, we are focusing on consumption good, capital good, intermediate good, and re-export good. For this period, we have export and import partner is ASEAN, European Union, Japan, and USA. For the next period is 1978 to 1982. For agriculture product, export was dropped, while the export from petroleum is rise. It is increased. For import, we are focusing on was concentrated on consumption, capital, intermediate goods, and stable intermediate goods import. For the next period is 1983 to 1986. This period was economic recession, so export performance was dropped due to change in economic structure from primary production to industrial based on production, while the import is high dependency, which is 47.50% from GNP. The next period is 1987 to 1992. Export increase. Um, and focusing on palm oil and crude petroleum. Change in economic structure to manufacturing products, reduce dependency on traditional sector. While import, we are focusing to capital and intermediate goods. So the next is 1993 to 2000. This is slow export growth due to slow growth in manufacturing and agriculture products. Manufacturing product for export, we are focusing to manufacturing products because the contribution is larger contribution to national export. But in 1996, export growth was slow. For import, we are focusing food products. Um, this is Malaysia evolution of international trade. The The first is about prehistoric Malaysia. We have barter trade was the main trading practice. Move to early kingdom. We have like the Tua and Suka were trade center. The next is Sultan state. International trade mainly in space and tin was prominent due to the exploration by Islamic and Western nation. Move to colonial era, we have Portuguese, the Dutch, and the British capitalists on the land-rich resources. The World War II happened, and the world suffered, and international trade was affected. Here, and move to formative era. After the independence, Malaya took part in trading commodities such as tin, rice, and later in the 60s, rubber. So modernization era, we have foreign investment had a boost that resulted in increased productivity and knowledge transfer. Cultural in entrepreneurship grew. So the last one era is diversification and disruptive era, which is now era. We have diversification in markets, product, and service are crucial for Malaysia. Global challenges are mounting due to geopolitical factors. Digital threat is on the rise. This is the for total export and import for product. The most highest one for export and product is electrical and electronic product in 2021, which is 36.8% for export and 31.8% for import. The lowest one is for export we have palm oil, which is 2.6%, and for import we have rubber product, which is 1.7%.
It was a palm oil based
Partner
product.
in 2021 export and import
It was a palm oil based product. It's not palm oil. Yeah.
Oh yeah, palm oil based.
Yeah, because palm oil is very important for Malaysia. Palm oil itself, the oil itself is very important. The product of it, what call this the processed from uh, palm oil. So so do not make a mistake that let's see where is palm oil. Palm oil, look at that on your right, 5.2%. The purple color, export purple color. Palm oil, purple color. Yeah, 5.2%. Yeah, that's a big number for a single item. You see, single item like petroleum products, 7.7, chemical products. Uh, with LNG. LNG is very important as well for Malaysia. Look at LNG. But this combined palm oil 5.2 plus this is palm oil based manufactured products. This is oil. Okay, I intervene because I want to make sure that everyone knows Malaysia's export is very dependent on number one ENE. ENE 36.8% ENE, and then after ENE is anything to do with palm oil and or LNG. Both are I mean petroleum based. Petroleum we have look at this petroleum product 7.7%, and LNG natural gas 3%, already 10%. Palm oil 2.6 plus 5.2 is about 7.8%. Yeah, so ENE petroleum plus LNG natural gas, and after that palm oil and palm oil based. Yeah, important. All right, go ahead, continue.
So the next is export and import partner.
I may say that let me add one more thing. During the lockdown or during economic recession, global economic recession, ENE will suffer. The market for ENE maybe maybe depends, because during the lockdown everyone is using computer, so that's kind of you have to look at the data again. During lockdown, COVID-19 lockdown, everyone is working from home, online classes, so more demand for computers, more demand for microchips. But during economic recession, normal recession, nothing to do with COVID, so the purchase of computers, electronics, yes, E&E, electronics. I'm not talking computers only. E&E in the US, in Europe, will go down during the recession. That's why my point I want to deliver to you, when there is recession, palm oil will be the the one that Malaysia will depend on. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. As normal today, always palm oil, but even more during recession. That's the point. Plus natural gas. These are the two things. Yes, I'm delivering the point to you. The two products of export of Malaysia that Malaysia depends so much when there is recession, whether globally or in Malaysia, recession globally, palm oil and natural gas. Because manufactured goods like E&E, people will not buy TV, new whatever electronics during recession, right? People postpone buying all this big screen, large TV or whatever. But people need to eat palm oil. People need to heat up their house. Yeah, natural gas. Go ahead.
So this is the partner in 2021. China is the first for export, which is 50.5. Actually, not the first. We can see the pie chart. Here is other country is the biggest one.
Yeah, we don't mention that other countries biggest one. China is the biggest trading partner.
Okay.
China and Singapore.
Yes, China and Singapore is the biggest one for export partner. The lowest one is Indonesia, which is 3.2%.
You must mention China, Singapore, and USA. Yes, because in the 1980s, it was USA and Singapore and USA switching. Sometime Singapore, sometime USA. That was 1980s and early 1990s. It was USA and Singapore, Singapore, USA, USA, Singapore, USA, Singapore, Singapore, USA. That was 1980s, 1990s. But in the 2000s, China has become the biggest trading partner, taking over USA. But Singapore maintains because products of Malaysia go through melalui through Singapore. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, for import, the biggest one is still China, second Singapore, and the third is Taiwan. China has a 23.2%. So the lowest one
Taiwan is not China
Taiwan.
and Singapore again. And you must mention USA, the same pattern. Yes, now I see Japan. In the past, in 1980s, it was Singapore and Japan and USA. In the 1980s, Singapore, Japan, and then USA was the source of import of Malaysia, 1980s and early 1990s. But now change. China has become number one. Singapore maintains. That's number two. Look at that. Japan, USA and Japan and USA. I would say USA is the third. Yeah, the third after Singapore, but they kind of near with each other. USA, Japan, and coming up is Taiwan, about the same. All this import and export, the same pattern that you see. I'm addressing to you now. I should do that at the end of your presentation, so please forgive me. I'm addressing that now, has to do with ENE. You see, ENE, the same pattern. What you export is what you import. Or yes, what you export is what you import, because the components, you import components that come into the factories here, and then you export the more finished. The components are semi-finished, not yet finished, the components, and still the same industry, E&E, and then you export. So all the same pattern is E&E. ROK is only 5.1. I would say that Korea is not very aggressive now, not that aggressive in terms of export to Malaysia. More Korea spend more efforts to Vietnam. Okay, go ahead.
So this is the Malaysia trade performance November 2021. This is the top 5 export and import markets, while this is top 5 export and import products. We can see this ASEAN, the first one.
Yeah, qualification must be
China,
made. What is it? Yeah.
followed by China.
You you must
Um,
make a qualification when you say ASEAN is number one. Go ahead, go ahead. I'll do that at the end. I'm just
for export we have USA, EU, Japan, but for import is the EU, Taiwan, and USA, the last one. For product we have the Sem, the largest one, E&E product. But for second product we have export is rubber product, while import we have chemical product.
okay. Another qualification you must make. This is the snapshot at one particular year. Well, year is this 2021. So you cannot make a conclusion that rubber is the second export of Malaysia, looking at one snapshot. So when you take a picture of someone, for example, someone he's looking this, looking the, but you cannot take just one picture as a conclusion. Oh, this is the character of this guy. So you're taking only 2021 only, and you cannot make that as a conclusion. You have to look at over the years of, 2000, 2000. I mean, uh, 2018, 2019, 20, 21, and so on. Because rubber is not the main export of Malaysia. Uh, unless, yes, there's another twist. You're talking about manufactured goods, or you're talking by SRTC, or by commodity. Yes, there's another category of. So here we're talking about how the data is, or what the data is about. So we can look at the trade data based on SITC, or pairing with HS, which is a harmonized system. That's one. Number two, by commodity category. And then by commodity category, you have E&E, you have rubber, you have all this, palm oil. So two qualification, I'll explain more after. Continue, please.
Okay, this is Malaysia external trade statistic by Sept in 2021. For export is value at 1,259.
We're not interested in the value. We're not interested. We want to see the changes over the years. So the number will be important if you know something to have a reference. Like ringgit Malaysia is yesterday was 480. I mean, yeah, 420 for example. Today 450. That makes sense only if you know something. But here you give whatever you mentioned, the trade number, we cannot make any sense because it's not every day that we, that kind of thing. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is the latest Malaysia trade performance, June 2021. We can see here increase by 43.4% over the 2020. Export has increased though, import increased, but the trade surplus is decreased. This is by July 2020. Here, total trade increased, export increase, import increase, but trade balance has increased too. Compared to 2020. This is the table show about external trade from year 1963 to 1980.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, go ahead. After this, after you finish, I'll continue.
The next table is export structure change in external trade of Malaysia by commodities. This is all commodities. We have rubber and so on.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is a category by commodity. Commodities grouping. So when you look at trade data, one thing you must take care of very carefully. Is it the data based on commodities grouping or based on SITC? For example, we've learned from our class, SITC by SITC at the 3-digit level, you get 776, which is semiconductor. Number one, export of Malaysia, according to SITC. But number one export of Malaysia, according to commodities group, percentage, what is it? Rubber, palm oil, solar, timber, petroleum and petroleum products, manufactured goods. Yeah. Average. Oh, this is historical data, 1881. 6064. Okay. So that was 1980, 81. Oh, yeah. That's why they manufactured only 22% more in petroleum. Okay, go ahead. The point I was making, what category? When you talk about 8081, semiconductor, not yet. That's the main export. According to another category, SITC. So, go ahead.
For the next, I pass to Aida.
Just go back 1 second. Let me finish what I said. Yeah, because the semiconductor will be inside the manufactured. You see that total merchandise, all other merchandise manufactures. Semiconductor will be there. will be inside there. But it's not visible because this is categorization by commodity groupings. So in real life also you can group people according to function, according to whatever. So some people will not be noticed. But when you use another grouping, these bright people will be noticed. Semiconductor 776 by grouping of what? SITC. You see, I'm just giving you example. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, now SITC.
Yes, Assalamualaikum. I
Salam.
will continue about structural changes in exchange rate of Malaysia and SITC 1 digit and SITC 3 digits. Next, as we can see in the graph, the pattern it increase year by year.
Sorry to interrupt, Doctor. I'm hearing Aida voice in the mic.
Is it okay now?
No, if Aida talking, her voice would be in your mic. I don't know.
Okay, please continue.
Okay. As we can see in 2015 and 2016, the changes is just a little wide compared to 2016 and 2017. There was a bit large changes in the percentage of import uh, by SITC 1 digit. Starting by 2017 until 2018, they increase, but in 2019, it decreased a little bit. Next, this is the graph of for structural changes in external trade of Malaysia at SITC 3 digit. This is the graph for import. As we can see, actually it is the same pattern, which is 2019 until 2018. They decrease constantly, and in the 2019, it decreased a little bit. Next. Okay, this is the graph for export. Export for the structural changes in the estimate rate for STPC 3 digits. The pattern still same like the previous, which is 2019. It decreased a little bit, and this year and previous year is increased constantly. Next.
That was not
Okay,
the
direction.
there was not the structure change. I think I've given you inside the Telegram. Could you stop presenting for a while? So that I can show you. Oh, no, I'm not. I shouldn't. Pause. Sharing pause. This is a table of SITC. 0, zero is food. 1 is beverage and tobacco. So if you can read here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 10. 0, okay. Okay, we have 0 is a food, beverages and tobacco. 0 plus food. 1 is beverages and tobacco. 2 crude materials inedible, cannot be eaten. Number 3, minerals. Number 4, animal and vegetable oils and fats can be eaten, of course. Number 5, chemical. Number 6, manufactured goods. Number 7, machinery and transport equipment. Number 8, miscellaneous manufactured articles. Number 9 is miscellaneous transaction and commodities. So when you want to take manufactured goods, you will take 5. Where is it? Yes. 5 chemicals plus 6 manufactured goods. So when you want to see export of manufacturing sector or manufacturing sector, do not consider number 6 only, which is manufactured goods, because chemical also manufactured in the factories. 5 chemical, 6 manufactured goods plus 7, which is the machinery. And you must remember 2 types of machinery. Number 7, okay, physical machinery like engines, and electrical machinery like semiconductor. They call it machinery as well. That's electrical machinery. machinery and transport equipment. Yeah. So this machinery, the machinery, non-electrical and plus electrical, all machinery, plus transport equipment. 7 plus number 8. So manufactured good is 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 minus 6, 8. Minus 6, 8. What is 6, 8? 6 come from manufactured goods. 8 is actually manufactured of non-ferrous metal, manufactured of tin, anything non-ferrous, including tin. What is ferrous? Iron, besi, ferrous. So let me repeat. Manufactured good is SITC 5 plus SITC 6 plus SITC 7 plus SITC 8. 5, 6, 7, 8 minus 6, 8. Non-ferrous metal, which has been produced. When you see 6 mean manufactured, but they exclude these non-ferrous metals when they talk about manufactured goods. This is the way study, World Bank use that category. 5, 6, 7, 8 minus 6, 8. So that was you look at that data. Here, 1983. Oh, yeah. 1983, 80, and so on. But for us, you just take 1980, 1990, 1995, if you can, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. You look at the graph, how that changes, because there's a lot of data you have to key in if you want to take every year. So that's what we mean by structural change of export according to SITC. And then there was in this graph they combine together. This production, this is import, this is export. Wait, yep. This here. This old book was very, very detailed, even for Peninsula Sabah Sarawak. Let's get more current book. This is this is in one table. In one table combined. Export and import by SITC, export and imports by SITC, and direction. So please share back your slide and continue. And perhaps go back to the slide that you presented. Yeah, definitely not this graph. Your graph will be showing, okay, what SITC is the biggest in 60, 70, 80. Yeah. So not this step, this graph. Okay, then continue. Next slide that you want to present.
As we can see, chart 1 about Malaysia's monthly external trade performance from 2019 until July 2022. The charts includes total trades, exports, imports, and trade balance. As we can see, the export, imports, they increase constantly. Even they have a little bit decrease. In some years. The total trade also increased, but the trade balance then have not to increase, just a little bit increase.
What is
Next. Okay. This is the total trade of Malaysia in 2015. The table shows the summary of Malaysia external trade per month in 2015.
so?
Next.
Another qualification I will make. This is all what we're doing here is learning. It says from experience actually. So another qualification later. So
This the total trade of Malaysia in 2019 includes the total exports, total imports, total trade balance, and total trade for all the data. Next, the table shows the summary of Malaysia external trade for 2021. Next, the total trades of Malaysia for 2022. Next, okay, this is the Malaysia export and import by country from 1961 until 1981. As we can see, the United States, the value increase year by year. but the big value is from the OECD countries. And the smallest value from the Asian markets. Next. This is the direction of Malaysian imports. Just same the years from 1961 until 1980. The biggest value is from the total Asia excluding the Japan. And the smallest value from the rest of the world. Okay, next. Okay, this is the Malaysian's export and imports in 2021, which is the top one. The first one is the Asian, followed with the China, USA, European Union, and the last top 5 is the Japan. Meanwhile, the imports, Asia still the number first, followed by the China is the second country. And the third one is Taiwan, followed by USA, and the last one, European Union. Next. This is the infographic about Malaysia exports and imports by product in 2021. The most export product is E&E products, followed with the petroleum products, palm oil, agriculture. The next one, chemical products, and the last top 5 is the manufacturers of metal. For imports, same with the products. E&E products is the top one, followed with petroleum products. Next, chemical products, machinery equipment, and followed by manufacturers of metal. Next. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for presenting. Now, time for me to make all the qualifications. So, can you start from first slide? Okay, thank you for presenting your presentation. And actually, our class is about learning. I'm training you to find data, and I'm training you to find facts. I'm training you how to present. All those will build up your experience. Presentation is actually an art. So now it's time for me to do some qualification, and perhaps I'm going to share with you what kind of data, and I'll go also to the statistics from the mother of statistics in Malaysia, DOSM. So let's start from your first slide that you showed me, you showed us from first slide. Second, next. Not yet, not yet. I'm just reading. Okay, in terms of global ranking, WTO ranked Malaysia as 25th largest exporter, and you must give the year here. So that's how people, for me, I always glue to the specific and accurate information. So in the bracket there, World Trade Organization ranked Malaysia 25th largest exporter in the year 2020, perhaps, or 21. So China, Singapore, US, Japan, Hong Kong, top five largest import of PRC, Singapore, and here Indonesia for maybe other products, maybe food or next slide, please. The Indonesia, I don't know. We have to check what. I take it back. When I say food, I take it back. I don't know. Because very seldom, first time that Indonesia pop up as a source of import for Malaysia. So this is export import 2067. And which data? The source of the data, what is it? Where'd you get this data from? It's very important to put the source at the bottom so that we don't have to ask. And so next slide. Percentage of GDP. Yep. Exports. Percentage of GDP. Next slide. Imports. So where's your, the World Bank, what is it? The World Bank data. World Bank database. Can you tell us? Please unmute. Yeah. Yes. Go ahead. When you say World Bank here, what World Bank? More specific. There are so many things World Bank has. So this is the World Bank database. Next. Next. Okay. Here, what is more important is not the way your this 47, 65, 60, 78. Number one, what's the rationale of picking up this year, the cutting? You cut it as 65, 60, 78. So all this must have a perspective. You do something, I'm sure this may be, I don't know whether you do it or you got already this slide from somewhere. When you do some cutting year, there is a purpose. There's something or incident happening. For example, when you cut the year 1970, 1971 until 1990. Oh, that was the period of NEP, New Economic Policy. So general thing is that when you cut the years, there is a function to what you're doing. For example, for simplicity, we cut the year 1980 until 1990. sorry, 1981 until 1980, 81 until 1990. That's simple by 10 years. But if you have some incident like 1987, there was financial East Asian currency crisis. So you want to cut 1980, 1970, 1980 until 1987, then 88 until. So that's number one, general rule of thumb. But the point is that you want to see the pattern. That's the most important thing as well. But that depends on how you cut it. So we want to say that in 1947 until 65, I'm not sure that's the best way to cut it. Maybe 47 until 57 up to independence. What was the main item? It was tin and rubber. Tin and rubber, the most important export before independence. Tin and rubber. After independence, at the beginning, tin and rubber. So we're talking about 57 until 65. That depends on how you cut it. And then beginning in late 80s, manufacturing is the number one. So I'm just so that's how you cut it to show the change over the time. Before independence, tin and rubber. After independence, early, 60s, still tin and rubber. But finally, late 70s and early 80s. So it depends how you cut it. Early 80s, beginning of manufacturing became the more important ones. And now manufacturing is so that's the arts of showing, the arts of presentation. You want to emphasize on certain things, that pattern that you see. Beginning in 1990s, petroleum, especially natural gas, more important. Palm oil, more important in late 80s until today. No more tin and rubber. That's the point. Rubber and tin, no more that important for Malaysia's export, especially tin, no more. Now it is manufactured goods, of course, semiconductor, E&E, of course, E&E, when semiconductor is already SITC 3-digit. The main export of Malaysia today is manufactured goods. Within the manufacture is E&E. Within E&E is semiconductor, if you more detail. Manufactured goods. Palm oil. Natural gas. These are the three items. No more tin. No more rubber as the main. Of course, rubber there is. Tin, even lower. No more tin. The time of tin is over. So that's the point that we want to show. But here it's not clear. Manufacturing, import. That's import. Okay, next. Next slide, please. Next slide. again, uh, because I'm looking for another slide. We can go back to this slide. Again, just quick comment on this. This is just snapshot. Yes, that's what I mean by snapshot. Snapshot of only 2021. But we need, when we talk about, our class is all about, everything that we talk in our class is about structural change. No matter what. Structural change, we have to look at this pie chart. How was it in 1970 if you have? How was it in 1980, 1990, 2000, 2020, and the latest? This is a snapshot only. Next slide. Same. Next slide. Oh, I was looking for this table. Table of import-export. I think you skipped it. Go back. Because I want to show you Malaysia, a small open economy. Go back. There's a table, not chart. Table, total trade, total export. Go back, go back. Look for a table. Yeah, maybe that one. Yes, this is, I'm looking for this one. Make it bigger. This, I think I posted that in you can folio. One of the, let me go to you can folio. Log into you can folio. Oh, maybe not. Okay, 1 second. Look at the file. So I'm looking for that file. It's not on the. So however, this look at the table 14.8, regardless whether you can see or not. This is my. Okay, here from this table, in that file that I'm looking for, that I don't find it right now, what I did was that I want to show you that Malaysia is a small open economy which depends so much on trade. I look at it in 1960 total export. So do you follow me? Total export, you look at the 1960, 3632.6 plus 2786.4 gross imports. Yeah, it's already given to you. 6419. Okay, 1960, 6419 is the total export. You will get data of GDP divided that 6419 by GDP, total GDP. Oh, you don't have the data GDP there. Have to find that. The file anyway. I cannot find it. Where that table okay. Anyway, if I can find that, it's magic. So what you do here, you get the data of the 6419 divided by GDP of Malaysia 1960. And then you go down all the way, this 1970, 5487, and then 1980, and so on. And you will get to see, in fact, Malaysia is very open economy. Dependent on trade. I'm not that happy because I don't find a table that I have it. I'm checking again inside the iFolio. Okay, I cannot find it because maybe in the external disk that I lost it. Wait 1 second. Yes, finally, in another course, international trade course. Okay, I'm sharing. Alhamdulillah. See, I'm sharing. Okay, I'm not happy. That's how I struggle. When you want to achieve something, you try so much. I try, and Alhamdulillah, I got it. In another course, international trade course I teach. Yes. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes. That was 2008. I wrote this. Petunjuk, indicator or proxy for that we can use this as for to show that Malaysia is an open economy and structural change. Okay, this the nisbah jumlah export, total export to at that time K&K, Keluaran Negara Kasar. Now they use KDNK. Now KDNK and GNI. That was long time ago. We still had this number KNK. But the latest trend, okay, repeating what I showed you previous weeks, KDNK supply side. When it comes to the expenditure side, remember maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, is GNI. previously GNP. Let me repeat. On this supply side, production, supply, KD&K, GDP. KD&K, GDP, same. Production, supply, same. GDP, KD&K, same. But on the expenditure side, remember expenditure, investment, consumption, the two sides, remember the two sides of production, what you produce and what you supply is what you consume. And not only what you consume, other people consume when you export. So the economy, you can look at supply side, the production. Remember when I show you the two charts? The two charts, we have little time. MOF. Okay. Showing there. I'm actually going to another thing. Okay, I'm here. I'm going back to the charts because I'm not happy perhaps explaining to you that you cannot see what I'm explaining, even though this is a repeat. Yeah. In an economy, there's always two sides of the coin. Imagine this is a coin, left and right coin, same, demand and supply. Okay, so for the supply we have GDP, gross domestic production. GDP will be all this production that makes the supply in this country. GDP plus the supply from outside, which is imports. Imports of goods and imports of services. Plus what you produce also, this manufacturing, whatever, manufacturing, agriculture, also exported. But GDP is here, manufacturing, services, agriculture, according to the way we study, agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, and services. This is GDP. Okay? But that's GDP. What about, so that's what you produce. What you produce is also what you consume, plus this is what you consume, demand. This is supply. This is supply, okay? Supply side. Supplies in the country comes from domestic supply. Domestic, the way the book does not give you service. That book. Okay, let's find better book. No. Yeah. I don't know whether you can see. Oh, is it here? When they cut it out. This one doesn't cut out. Uh, can you see what I'm showing you this? Where is it? Yeah. It's not fair for us to study if the graph is like that. We want like this. This is a domestic. This is GDP. This is domestic supply. This is foreign supply, import of goods and import of services. If they do this like this, easy for me to teach you. Do you follow me? Okay, so let's go back. That's what I mean by cut out. Previous books, they do this. So let's go back. Okay. Yeah. So I was just trying to show you when you make a graph, you don't cut out. Not easy for me to explain. Not easy for other people to understand. You must cut out. So this is GDP, agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, services. You make one and cut it out. You understand? Pizza, take it out. Just a slice. Then we can see better. And this is import of goods and services. This is import of goods and import of services. Okay, clearer. Bigger, right? Ooh. Yeah. See, this is GDP. Agriculture plus mining plus construction plus manufacturing to jump. They jump. Plus services. All GDP. So the supply in this country from GDP, what you produce, and also the supply coming from outside. You import goods, you import also services. Why not make this one slice of pizza together? Cut out. Do you understand now? There's you do fairness, justice or fairness for your viewers. This is not doing fair, not fair to everyone, to students. Okay. There's supply in the country. What about demand? Okay, yeah. Before I go there, what is the same number? Same number. Same number. Supply. What you eat is what you no, this is not eat. What you produce plus other people produce for you, you import, will be the same with what you demand, what you eat, consume here, and what other people eat outside, consume outside as well. Which is people outside, you hear here, domestic demand here. Private consumption, public consumption. Okay, this is consumption. Again, the way they draw it, not doing justice, fair to us. Private consumption plus public consumption, investment, private investment plus public investment. These are, you eat. I make a comparison. You eat from what you produce, and also you eat from what you buy from other people outside. The one that you produce also eaten by people outside. You export the goods. You export the services. You understand now? There's supply. The supply coming from inside, domestic. Supply also coming from outside, imports of goods and services. This is the demand. I use also the word expenditure. But the expenditure, we talk about GDP. GDP is production. What is the expenditure on that production? So that's another thing. Another graph. GDP, total GDP is this much. From that GDP, again, GDP is only here, not the thing, not the whole thing. So we're talking now GDP. On the production side, this is GDP. I mean, this except this one, except this one, except this blue one. That's GDP. On the GDP, expenditure on the GDP. What is expenditure on GDP? This. Private consumption, public consumption, private investment, public investment. These are expenditure on GDP. Because it's going to be long. Here. This I'm repeating. GDP. All this. Look at this number. 1450830. Okay. That's GDP. Production. On that production, this is 1450. The money. Where does it go in terms of consumption? That's what we call expenditure. So the GDP go to another mirror. Yes, mirror of it. You produce and expenditure. How this is? We call it demand aggregates. You see now? 1450. Here, GDP. 1450. This is production. GDP, 1450. Plus import duties. 1450. GDP, okay? Production side, supply side. This is domestic supply. From that graph previously, supply coming from outside is imports. So we're not talking about that. That finished. This is production, GDP, 1450. Look at. From that production, imagine this. I work. I got the money, this money, total monthly. From this money, I work, I produce. How do I spend this money? I spend on food, I spend on transportation, I spend on this. I spend on saving in my account. We don't spend it, but we call it. So, similarly, all this GDP, 1450, has the mirror of it, cermin, which is spent to what? Go for what? This is produce. This 1450, they go to what? To what is this another table? Do you understand now? They go to this. Demand aggregates. Look at this, 1450, same number. This is GDP. So for this table, they have another. 150 goes to what? Go to this consumption, public, private, government, and everyone of private. Investment, this is investment. Public, private, and so on. And export of goods and services. Because the product that you produce, all this manufacturing, for example, goes to also export. But you want the net export. You also import, so net export. So all this. A, consumption, which is the government and non-government. Investment, B, investment, B. This is investment. Government and non-government. Plus C, inventories, okay. D minus E, net export. This same number. $1450. And again, 1450. And again, I want to show you back to the graph. What's that? It's not even getting to the point that why is it slow? Not moving. I want to get back to the same pie chart. Oh yeah, I'm already here. Oh, I have to go back. My internet. Why? I'm trying to get into the book. Here. Remember this? GDP, where is GDP? The table that we just saw, we just seen it. This is GDP. Agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, services. And I'm repeating, it's not fair. They're not making like pizza cut already for you. They mix. Where is GDP? Agriculture, mining, construction, manufacturing, services. That comes from GDP. The table that we just saw, 1450. Remember the number? 1450? Here, GDP. Produce, you produce. That also will go to the demand. Will go to investment, consumption, private consumption, public consumption, private investment, public investment, and change in the stock, and what's the other one? And that's it. So, but that's not the whole thing of demand, because demand also come from outside. Demand goes also outside because you export your goods. For example, manufacturing will go to export. For example, agriculture also. Okay, so complicated. So this is GDP, partly supplied domestically plus supplied from outside. You import of goods, lorries, whatever, jet, food, imports of goods, and import of services. Okay. On the demand side, from those that you produce locally, you will demand. You will, we call it expenditure. For this and this, plus the demand happening outside the country. Do you follow me? Export. The demand is, so this is domestic demand plus external demand. Yes. Export of goods and export of services. So we can say in summary here, domestic supply and external supply, supply from outside. Domestic demand plus external demand. But where is GDP? Here, inside here, where is the expenditure on GDP? Do you understand now? Where is GDP? I'm repeating. GDP is here. Partly. Sebahagian. GDP is inside here. Sebahagian of this total pie chart. So now, GDP. What is the expenditure on GDP that you produce? Expenditure on it. So when you produce, you makan, you wear, we call it expenditure on GDP. Inside here is consumption, private consumption, public consumption, private investment, public investment. Yes, sebahagian also. So that's what we saw just now in the national account. That sebahagian is there, here. 1450. Oh, this is different year. Okay, 1403, 1493. 1493. That's GDP. Go down. This is expenditure on GDP. Bear in mind, I'm not even getting to what I'm trying to show you. Sorry, my battery is low. So this is GDP. What was the number again? GDP 1493. 1493, okay? Remember that number. Where is that? 1493. Here. This is constant price. We look at constant price because GDP is always constant price. This constant price. Definitely GDP, no point to make. There's a point also. I take it back. Depends on what you want to see. But if you are, in this case, it's a limited space, they right away go to constant price. You can make this table in current price. But current price you cannot use for this rate of growth. Rate of growth here must be based on constant price. So constant price 1493. The cermin, the mirror of that is expenditure on GDP. Let me repeat. Expenditure on GDP. What you produce, what you eat, what you consume. Expenditure on GDP, we call it this gross national income by demand aggregate. 1493 is here, same number, which is what you produce on GDP. Expenditure on that GDP is for consumption, for investment, plus net export. Some of those that you produce the GDP you produce, right? Some of those will be consumed outside, which is you export, consume there. So now you see expenditure on GDP, some will be consumed domestically on the GDP, some will be consumed externally outside. So we take this number, export minus import. So D minus E, net export. So comes to the same number, 1493. So, but that's not the point. I'm saying you go back to what I was saying. Now I'm going back to my table. In the past, now you can recall what I was saying. In the past, this one used to be that the data that looked at GNP in the past. GNP, gross national, GDP. That's a different story. GNP is different. I'll explain. Gross national income, that's correct. Okay. So I'm ready. I'll explain that to you later in the next slide. So here, so now you understand. GDP 1493. The opposite of it, the mirror of it, 1493 is inside here. 1493. And this table, we call it gross national income by demand aggregate, by demand, by expenditure, but all combined, because of this table does not finish here. Because look at this, Hanif, this table does not finish at 1493. GDP finish there. You see, finish there, complete, end, stop, finish, can go back home, finish, boleh tidur. GDP finish there, boleh tidur. But for this one, cannot tidur yet. 1493 is only here. This will balance of primary income, the income of the country. So that's why it is called gross national income. Because you add one more item. After GDP, I mean, not GDP, after opposite of GDP, the cermin, coin. GDP, the cermin, outside of it, expenditure, right? You add one more item, is primary income, dividends and so on, everything, income. So gross national income. So that's the table, gross national income by demand aggregates. The demands are there. So now let's go back to, I hope it is showing, or I must, Oh, yeah, stop sharing that one. Share. Yeah. Is it on the screen already? Okay, it's on the screen. Yeah. Petunjuk atau proksi yang boleh digunakan untuk mengukur openness of an economy, openness, kebergantungan sebuah ekonomi kepada perdagangan antarabangsa. Openness here refers to very dependent on external economy, very dependent on import and export, very dependent on international trade, all the same thing I'm talking about. So, three ways you look at jumlah export, total export, divided by GDP. Yes. So, in the past, data also looked at GNP. KNK is GNP. Now, it's a good point that I show you this because I want to explain what is the difference between KNK and KDNK. Malay, KDNK. English, GDP. Here. Here the data that I used. GNP. Keluaran negara kasar. Or gross national product. But almost similar, but there is a difference between the two, which I will make a question to maybe Hanif to answer. Which one is bigger in the case of Malaysia? Is it KNK, keluaran negara kasar, or keluaran dalam negara kasar? I'll explain that later. Regardless, assume this is KDNK. Assume this is GDP, okay? Assume. Maybe we do it now. Okay. Okay, I'm giving you the definition. Gross national product, difference between gross domestic product. What is the difference between keluaran dalam negara kasar, which is GDP, gross domestic product, compare with keluaran negara kasar, tak ada D, which is gross national product. What is the difference, Hanif? If you know? And you don't know? Okay. KDNK, keluaran dalam negara kasar. Or GDP. Okay, GDP, KDNK, GDP same. GDP is all the production domestically in Malaysia. All the production. No matter by citizens or non-citizens. By Malaysians in Malaysia, by Japanese, happen in Shah Alam, Malaysia of course. By Taiwanese, by Koreans, by all, no matter who, regardless of whatever citizenship. As long as happen in Malaysia, that number is KDNK. Or GDP in English. Do you follow me? This is concept. I will not ask you in the exam or our quiz. No. My quiz is not about that. Concept is for you to understand and learn. I will not ask question on concept, okay? period, definitely. No question on it. Don't worry. So KDNK, GDP is all the production, final product. Why final? We don't want to double count. Final only we take. We don't count the steps to that final, the inputs, input in it. So that's why the concept of value added will take care of that, because the value added only take care of the final. So whereas K and K, keluaran negara kasar, or GNP, this one GDP compared with GNP, GNP, follow me, GDP, GNP, GDP, this one GNP, gross national income, gross national production, GNP, okay. GDP, I'm repeating so that you get the word D. GDP, GDP, this one GNP, N, GDP, GNP. What is the difference between GDP and GNP, gross national product? Only takes into account production by nationals only, not only. I should have mentioned the word only in the front, in the back, better. Will take into account production by nationals only, citizens of Malaysia only, whether in Malaysia or outside. So, let me repeat. GDP, all the production, domestic in Malaysia, no matter by whom, by Malaysians or by non-Malaysians, meaning that all the production regardless of citizenship. But this one, citizenship matter. It matters. Gross national product. GDP, gross domestic product. GNP, gross national product. Only national. Malaysian nationals only. But doesn't matter here or outside. We want both. So this one, GNP, all the production by Malaysian only in Malaysia. In Malaysia, domestically, by Malaysian only. Plus the income Malaysian citizen make outside of Malaysia, they bring in. You understand? Let me repeat. GDP, all the production that happen in Malaysia, no matter by whom. You understand now? GDP. GNP, gross national product, the production by citizens of Malaysia only. Here plus outside that they bring in back. So, all the GDP in Malaysia, you must subtract, minus, take out those by Japanese, take out all those by non-Malaysians. Plus the income, money income, whatever, dividend, all those Malaysian make from outside, they bring, put together. That's GNP, gross national product. By the national of Malaysia, by the citizens of Malaysia, here and outside that they bring in. Do you understand now? So, do you understand, Hanif? Could you explain back to me? Then right away answer me which one is bigger in the case of Malaysia. So, explain back to me, because I want to make sure you understand.
So KDNK is what domestically produced, whether it is Malaysian citizen or any foreigners, and KNK is
Right.
another citizenship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No. No. Not complete. GNP not complete. GNP. This
Malaysia citizens who produce domestically and who produce outcome of outside
outside. Not outcome. Income outside that they bring in.
income from outside.
So by Malaysian citizen, they produce here and outside as well, combined. Do you understand? For example, I have money I make in Indonesia, my factory. I invest in another country, for example, Indonesia again. I bring back. So that's gross national product. National. So in the case of Malaysia, I mean, usually we talk about dividends, income outside dividends that, as investors we bring back. So that's gross national product. The product produced by Malaysians here in Malaysia, also produced by Malaysians outside of Malaysia. Do you understand now? Which is not much maybe. But between the two, GDP or GNP, bigger the number in the case of Malaysia. In the case of Malaysia, maybe different country, different, but mostly like this. Which one is bigger, the number? The total.
KDNK.
Yeah, correct. KDNK is bigger than in Malay, KDNK Malay. KDNK lebih besar daripada KNK. Or GDP English. GDP is bigger than GNP. Because GDP, all the production here in Malaysia, by Americans, by Japanese, by Koreans, by Taiwanese, by Chinese, all that happen in Malaysia. So the number is bigger than the other one, GNP. Or in Malay, KDNK lebih besar daripada KNK. Because by everyone, all those foreigners also included in dalam KDNK. So now we're ready. This is total export. This is total import. I should make another row here. Total trade. Remember the graph by our friend that presented today? Total trade. So the objective of this table is to show Malaysia a small open economy. Small here refers to Malaysia, the size of GDP compared with Indonesia. Indonesia is bigger GDP, because Indonesia is a big country. How many population? But Singapore is small population but big GDP. But GDP of Indonesia is bigger than GDP of Singapore, because a big country. I have to check what I say, but the concept is there. That's the concept. Singapore is only 5-6 million people, but the amount of total GDP there is very high. That's why GDP per capita of Singapore maybe 40,000, 39,000, high income. But when you take off total GDP of, say, Russia, total GDP of Russia, much bigger than Singapore. We're talking about, the size. Okay, now, so number one, you look at the export to GDP. This is what I did. Look at this. Wow. 1970, 1997, I updated this. I was writing this in 1990, maybe 1997. So I updated that 2008. I added, latest line. Look at this. And I want to show you in terms of export. Look at this. This open economy of Malaysia, only 40%, 40% in 1970 in terms of export ratio to GDP. Here, assume, okay, I'm using the word GDP here, okay, just assumption, because the difference is not much, okay, not much the difference. There is a difference, but not much. Assume this is GDP, export to GDP ratio, 40% up, 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 until, look at this, 2005, 123%. Malaysia is really a trading nation. Export to GDP ratio more than 100% of Malaysia's GDP. The total export. Malaysia really, truly, truly open economy. That's export alone. Import. This is the import. Import share of GDP. Assume this is GDP. Forget about GNP or KNK. Assume this is KDNK. But I wasn't wrong. I can do this also as a share of KNK. I can do as a share of KDNK. I can. Nothing wrong with that. Look at this, 99%. And 2007, 91. So I can do another thing, another column, total trade, which you take export plus import, and you get the number, total trade. 9 something here, 99394. Divide by a total. This is even bigger number. But that's a half of the story I want to show you. Which, if I continue this table until today, there's a graph going like this. The peak would be sometime, look at this, you can see this already. 123, 112, and after that it's going down a little bit. So, in a way, but not much. In a way, in the year, the mid of 2000, what do I call this? This is a very important point when you study the Malaysian economy. There was an increase in external demand. Oh, no. I shouldn't use that word. 448 already, nearly 5. Yes, in a way, yes. There was an increase in Malaysia's economy, involvement in import and export as a total of the economy. But that percentage has decreased after the year 2005. Decrease. Listen to my point here. There is a greater role today in domestic demand. So you go back to what I showed you the graph earlier. You know the supply, the two pie chart. Remember two pie chart? Supply and demand. You must know this point. I'm repeating again. Today we're talking about the year 2022. There is greater domestic demand. There is greater role played by domestic demand in Malaysia. That's why that explains second quarter of this year, the Malaysian economy grew 8.9%. We discussed that, last week. Mainly because of stronger domestic demand. And domestic demand has become more important today than before. Here, before I'm talking about here, the year 2000, look at this. External demand was so big. Look at this, external demand. 123% of Malaysia's GDP. Malaysia's GDP, export alone. External demand, okay? Export, external demand. You understand? Export is external demand. Over 100%, but has now reduced. If you take this, we don't have time. You take this data, export in the year. Why not? Let's go. 1016. Anyone has calculator? 1016 divided by 1493. Faster, calculator. 1016 divided by 1493. How much you get?
0.6805.
68% only. It means 68% only. That's the proof. If you punch correctly, export today as a percentage of GDP, what is export? External demand is only 68.5%, right? Oh no, I'm not showing you the wait. You have to switch it every time. Oh, yeah. Am I showing? Yeah. Export 1016 divided by 1493, the GDP. 68% only. Stop sharing this one. This is online learning, huh? So you have to be patient. Look at this. Oh, you can see, right? 68 was during this time. You go back to 1988, It's like a curve like this, going up, and it was peaking, bumbung, di sini, 2005 or something. 68 today. So it means that less of, I'm not saying not important. When there is an economy, you're sluggish, you have problem economy. What it means today, you need to spend more effort on domestic demand. Because the role of domestic demand today is more important than previously. Of course, you want to export. But when there is a global recession, other countries have no money also to buy our products. So now, that's good. This is a good economy because you have a role for domestic demand. But again, depends on how much. That's a very relative. Malaysia was, look at this, very, very dependent on external sector. What happened external sector? You have to start with the domestic demand. So 6 minutes left. So I have to stop here. I want to share more with you, but all I want to share more, we don't have time, but I took so much time to refresh what I taught you to understand the concept. All I want to show you is this. The last point I make. What was the last point I make, Hanif? Could you repeat to me? After all the story, go here and there, go to Phuket, go to Langkawi, and go to Kota Baru, go to Patani, go to Johor Bahru, and go back to Kuala Lumpur. And finally, show it. What was it? What's the point?
You explain about supply and demand and the chart that you showed us.
But what's the point? Last point that I want to show you. No. The last point that I want to show you, there is a structural change in Malaysia's economy. In the past, Malaysia was so dependent on external sector. But today, there is a greater role for domestic sector, domestic demand. External sector, export. What is it? Export is what? External demand. Demand outside. External demand. You export. So, in other way, external. But today, there's a more role for domestic demand. You know? You follow me? That's the point. But for me to get to that point, I go to Phuket, I go to Kota Baru, I go to Senawang, I go to Alustar, down to Johor Bahru, and now to Kuala Lumpur. So, because I was not happy that you are not. I want to make sure. I want to make sure that you get the concept again. Betul-betul grab the concept. This is supply. This is demand. Inside that supply is GDP. Inside, partly. And expenditure on GDP, partly inside that demand, the other demand side. So we have to stop here. We have about 4 minutes. We'll discuss on other time, maybe in Telegram, because on other things that if I remember, for your presentation, yes, the last qualification maybe, no time. When you take data of January to August, this January to August 1997, this is January to August 2000. We shouldn't take that one. When you want to show this concept again, right? That's why I mentioned presentation is an art. When you want to show to the people changes in somebody, in changes in Hanif, you cannot take the picture of Hanif January to August 1995. That's not the whole story of Hanif. You must take the whole year of 1995, and you bring of. You cannot take the whole year January to August of Hanif. That's not complete of Hanif. You must take the whole of 2000 of Hanif. Now 2020, complete of Hanif 2020. That's the concept, right? So please do not use the simple table. That's why I already prepare here, but no time to go into DOSM. So maybe inshallah next time I go to DOSM to show you where to get the data. Okay, we have to stop here because time, no more time for our class today. So again, we all learning, right? Don't be shy. Okay, I have QR code. So, do you follow me when I say you must take the whole Hanif, 95 Hanif, 2000 like this. Cannot take just a quarter of Hanif. Sorry, Hanif, I'm using you as example, right? So you cannot take January to August all the time. So that's why you have to go to DOSM. So now we put in QR code. So please forgive me if I offend the presenter. That's not my intention at all. That's why I keep repeating. We all learning here. I'm just sharing you my experience. How, that's why presentation, okay, now, QR code. QR code. You must bear in mind, 5 p.m. is also, is always the time of very busy for the UKM line, because 5 p.m. everyone is patching out online, sign up. 20. Oh, today is class 8. So I was trying to, I'm typing QR code, I'm talking at the same time, class 8. So I'm trying to make sure you understand the concept and the main point. In education, understanding the concept is very important. Once you understand concept, you can do so many things. Okay, now ready. Okay, share this QR code. Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry for whatever I say today. I hope I do not offend anyone. Please, someone stop the recording.